Hello beautiful souls, I am Awakened Soul, and today we're gonna set up our next trade in BTC. First thing we're gonna do is place our support and resistance weekly trend lines. If you're having a hard time finding them, you could definitely use your pivot highs and lows indicator. Usually have it set at 5, but 3 works too. This was our previous high, but I'm more concerned about price action right now. So I'm going to go ahead and set my resistance here. My next support will be here. I'm going to come down to the daily. Within the daily, I want to set support and resistance on the previous candle. Let me change colors so we could remember orange is for the weekly and the daily will be yellow. Okay. So major supports were broken yesterday, and I did post that video last night. If you missed it, you should check it out. So once I'm in my daily and I place my support and resistance, I like to turn on my higher high, lower low indicators. I have two. One is set at 9, one is set at 30, and this just gives me a great view of where to set my trend lines from previous highs to the most current lower highs. And again, we're just concerned with price action here. We're going to set a trend line from this low. I mean, where to set the trend line, right? I guess we could go to yesterday's daily candle, right? Okay, so let me highlight our new trend lines for the day. There's one, there's two. So let's set targets here. If it breaks down, my next target, daily target that could take weeks to play off, would be a Joe target, and that would be 1 touch, 2 touch highest point. Right, just come right down, and it would be close to my weekly support here. Okay, let's go ahead and highlight it. And of course, if we break daily trend lines to the upside, right, as a trader, you want to be prepared for both sides. This would be my target, 1 touch, 2 touch, and right in between, based on the lowest price action right here. That's where your target would be. Let's turn on our EMAs. I like to use the 12 and the 26. I'm going to go down to my 4 hours. My 4 hours have officially crossed. So the way I trade is if price action is above the 12 and the 26, I just look for longs. If my price action is below the 12 and the 26, I just look for shorts. I go with the trend. I trade with the flow, and that's just how I do things. So now that we're in our 4 hours, I want to set major trend lines for the 4 hours. And again, using the higher high, lower low indicators will help me and guide me on where to place my trend lines, right? So this is our high, our lower high. Let's change colors. We're going to use green for our daily. I guess we could go from this lower high to to yesterday's low. Right, just right in here. Right, we're concerned about price action, so let's make the trend lines get pretty close to our price action so we could determine our next target. So that's pretty close. So we're taking the daily low here, right? And the higher low to higher low, and then the high to the lower high. So let's go ahead and get a target. If it breaks to the downside, again, the highest peak, right? This will be my 4-hour target. All right, if we come back up here, one touch, two touch, this would be my 4-hour trend line. I mean, sorry, 4-hour target. Right, but we're looking for a trade right now. We're looking for a setup right now. 4-hour trades usually take like a week to play out. So let's come into our 1 hour. So for me to scalp, I like to scalp in my 30 minutes. But just really quick, I want you for you to see something. This was major support that we broke yesterday. And I'm just gonna go set a red line here. Make it thick, right? Huge support that we broke to the downside. Okay, so let's go into our 30 minutes. Within our 30 minutes, okay, I want you to set your high and your low and set an alarm within this range, right? What we're looking for at this point is if we break this lower high, we want to retest and continuation to the upside. That's just how the charts move. So if we break to the upside, we'll create a new higher high compared to this one. You will enter in your higher low and set your stop loss at previous higher lows. If this is to break to the downside, we're looking for lower lows to break, retest, and continuation to the downside, right? And even within the 30 minutes, it could take a whole day to play out, let me tell you. So let's get closer. So because we did create new lows here compared to this low, I just want to see something. I want to see if I could find a pattern within my shorter time frame. Let's say connecting. Trend lines here, previous high, low. Let me change colors. I hope this is not confusing here. Then we had this wick here, right? Like a little megaphone going on right now. So we had a lower high, and a continuation to lower high. Because I trade with the trend, right? We came down, we went up, not the fib. We went up, right? We came down, we went up, we came down, we went up. Okay, so with that being said, let's get close here. So remember, the yellow trend line is our daily trend line. So that's a major trend line that just broke, right? So if we go to the 15 minutes, it's being used as a resistance here, if that makes sense. So I would feel comfortable entering a short here, right here, where it is, where price action is right now. Oops. I would feel comfortable entering a short here, set my stop loss here, because this daily yellow trend line is major resistance, and because we did create a lower high that's already printed, not printed in the 30 minutes, printed in the 15 minutes. Let's go into the 5 minutes. Let's edit our higher high, lower low. Sometimes it's good to edit. The lower you come down to, the more highs and lows you're able to see. Okay, see how you can see the higher high, the higher low. So I'm just trying to understand it. Let's go into our 1 minute. Okay, so even within our 1 minute right here, I like the support off the bat. Okay, and I like this as resistance. I'm gonna be watching the 1 minute because again, we're scalping. So just looking at the 1 minute right here. This is our play. Right, if we break up, retest, and we continue up. Enter at your higher low once the break is confirmed. Okay, and if we break this support in the 1 minute, let it break, retest, then we'll see a continuation. So you're gonna want to enter at your lower high and set stop loss at your previous lower high. I hope that made sense. So that's how I go from all the way from the weekly to the 1 minute. I trade with the flow, and like I mentioned, right now, just based on the 30 minute, it's important for me to realize that at the 4 hour, we're in a downtrend, right? Oh, let's not forget about our RSIs here in our MACD, right? RSIs in the 4 hours look pretty oversold. MACD looks pretty oversold too. So we could have a nice retest going on. 1 hour, just looking at this, looks like a double bottom, right? 1 hour, we're still oversold. And if you see it right off the bat, you notice some divergence, right? We're coming, price action's coming down, RSI is going up, right? That's giving me a bullish sentiment, even though the trend is down. In our 30 minutes, RSI still oversold, MACD oversold. So everything looks bullish right now. Let's move in to our 15 minute here. So in the 15 minutes, look, this RSI is going up, price action is coming down, right? So that is a bearish divergence. There's something that you need to consider. What time frame are you playing the game? Okay, I am scalping right now. I'm gonna look at the 1 minute. The bigger trend is down, even though there is divergence in the 1 hour and the 4 hours, bullish divergence. I don't feel comfortable longing at this time, especially with this major support being broken. And just looking at the sentiment of the markets, just looking at the chart and a bigger time frame, right? I mean, what does this look like? Look at that. Right? My head and shoulders. I could be wrong, but I just go with the flow. And yeah, it's going up. For me to take a long, like I mentioned, for me to take a long, to really consider a long, I want this lower high to break. Right, break here on the 30 minutes at least, retest, and then continue to the upside. And yeah, and that's my next play. I hope you learned something new today, and may the force be with you. And targets, I forgot to give you targets. So looks like a double bottom. If it breaks, like I said, lower high, where's your target? You can always throw a fib from the top to the bottom and get a 50% target. Usually they I would say 70% of the time 50% fib retracements hit, so that would be a great target. 2217, Or, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Oh, trend line. Give me another way to get a target. Sorry, sometimes I forget. So if we go back to the 1 hour, right? Let's set a nice trend line here. I hope I'm not all over the place. I feel like I am all over the place. This is a trend line here, right? We have trend lines here. Our next trend line be from this to this high, and we're breaking it right now. So if this is to break, again, pivot highs and lows, this is our lowest price action, right? Go right here and boom, this is will be your target. 2235, I'm sorry, 22325 would be my target for this long. But again, I won't take it till it confirms and breaks this high. All right, guys, this is my setup. May the force be with you, and remember to do everything with love.